Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Let's get on to covering multiple choice questions for prelims 2020 and question number 1. In the context of polity, which of the following statements are correct with reference to rights? Number 1. They are claims that are necessary for leading a life of respect and dignity. Number 2. They place an obligation upon the state to act in certain kinds of ways. And the last is they place obligations on the individual in the community. So which of the statements given above are correct? 1 only, 2 only, 1 and 2 only, or all of these? Pause a bit and try to come up with the right answer. It's a very important question. So let's see the answer now. So herein all of these statements are correct. With reference to rights, we are having 3 criteria broadly. There can be many more, but at least whatever's been written over here is correct. There is no confusion in case of statement number 1 and 2. Statement 1 is saying that rights are claims that are really needed in order to live a life of respect and dignity. Absolutely correct. We are having right to education. We need education to live a life of respect and dignity. So that's it. Statement number 2 is also correct, that these rights, they are an obligation upon the state to act in certain kinds of ways. So definitely, suppose there is a right of having a clean and safe environment, and this is an obligation upon the state to work for the environment and work for air quality. So these are indeed an obligation upon the states to act in certain kinds of ways. Right to life include right to having safe environment. So state is bound to act in a certain kind of way. So broadly हमको सोचना है, बिल्कुल ऐसा नहीं सोचना कि obligation, so maybe it's the DPSPs or it's this and that. So we are talking about rights in a very generic sense. Let's move on to statement number 3. So they place obligations on the individuals in the community. Absolutely correct. So one person's rights end where other person's rights start. Right to have a free speech does not mean one can opt for inciting other people to do anything wrong. This is not a part of a right. So right definitely places a limitation or obligation on the individual in the community to act in a certain way. So these are the broad parameters here. We are to think and act in a very broad format whenever we are to talk about certain generic statements, as it's been written over here, reference to rights. So all these 3 statements are indeed correct. If you have got any sort of confusion here, then let me know in the comment section. We'll go through this question once again. And answer here becomes D. Let's get on to question number 2. Consider the following statement with reference to mission innovation. So pure factual. Number 1, it's a global initiative to do what? To promote clean energy research and development. Second, it's a joint initiative of ARENA and UNEP. ARENA is International Renewable Energy Agency and UNEP is United Nations Environment Program. Is it a joint initiative of these 2 agencies? This is statement number 2. Third is India is a founding member. Which of the statements given above are correct? Both, like 1 and 2 only, 2 only, 1 and 3 only, and 1, 2 and 3. That is, all of these are correct. So again, pause a bit and try to come up with the right answer. So let's see the answer now. Herein, mission innovation is very important because it's been spearheaded by India. So yes, India is its founding member and it has nothing to do with the ARENA and UNEP. Number 1 statement is correct, that it is definitely a global initiative wherein all the countries, largely all, more than 2, 3, it's not a regional, rather a global initiative to do what? To promote the clean energy research and development. This is point number 1 and very important. Mission innovation is everything contained in statement number 1. Statement number 2 becomes wrong because of this very reason, that when the leaders of the states met in the backdrop of Paris climate deal in the year 2015, there India came up with this very idea of launching mission innovation, and with India we were having France and USA, and now there are almost 24 countries plus the European Commission involved here. European Commission means we're talking about European Union. European Union is a grouping of 27 nations, and it is represented by a commission, that is European Commission. So 24 plus 27, you can largely say it is indeed a global initiative. So this is important. So that's it. We've gotten the answer here because statement number 2 is incorrect. 1 and 3 are correct. So answer becomes 1 and C only. That's it. Let's move on to question number 3. Marpol Convention, often seen in news, is related to number 1, prevention of pollution from ships. Number 2, reducing pollution from thermal power plants. C is segregation and recycling of e-waste. Last is preventing disposal of plastic waste into the ocean. So it's a very important convention. So do try to come up with the right answer here, and let's see the answer now. So the name is Marpol Convention. What is it all about? This convention basically is about reducing the harmful impact of shipping on the environment. This is very important. This is the key point here. We are to reduce the harmful impact of shipping on the environment, and this convention is about that. Who is spearheading this entire convention? International Maritime Organization. When did it come into operation? 1997. So this convention was adopted in 1997. And why are we studying it now? Because now from 2019 onwards, that is December 2019 onwards, as per this convention, there is a new regulation that the sulfur emission from the ships would be only to the extent of 0.5% worldwide. Earlier it was 3.5 m/m, that is mass by mass. So basically we can think of it as a percent. But now, as per the new regulations under Marpol Convention, we are to reduce the exhaust from ships, sulfur exhaust, to 0.5%. That is it. So organization's name, International Maritime Organization. It's a convention. When was it opted? 1997. Why was it in news? So this was the reason. Sulfur content is to be brought down to 0.5 mass per mass. So this is it. Prevention of pollution from ship is our answer. So A becomes the answer. That's it. Let's move on to the next question now, which again is slightly tricky if we are not reading it carefully. So do read it carefully. Let's see the question now. Consider the following statements about a casting vote in House of Parliament. Casting vote means when there is a tie and then the presiding officer is exercising its voting right. Alright, first number is Speaker does not vote in the House except when there is a tie at the end of voting in a House. This is statement number 1. 2 is till date, the Speaker of the Lok Sabha has not been called upon to exercise this casting vote. Statement number 3. Chairman of Rajya Sabha does not exercise casting vote because he or she is not a member of Rajya Sabha. Is it so? So let's look at the options. These are 1 and 3 only, 2 only, 1 and 2 only, and 1, 2 and 3 only. So try to read these statements on your own. They are from polity, and polity is a very scoring subject. We shouldn't be marking this question wrong. So let's see the answer now. Statement number 1 is definitely correct because Speaker does not vote in the House except when there is a tie at the end of voting in a House. So let's look at the explanation here. So right here under Article 100 of the Constitution, this provision is there that Speaker does not vote in the House except on rare occasion when there is a tie. अगर 50-50 है, 50 वोट एक साइड 50 वोट एक साइड, तो स्पीकर वोट करेगा और जिधर 51 हो जाएंगे वो रेजोल्यूशन पास होगा. So this is what we call as a casting vote. At the same very time, when Speaker is not acting as the Speaker, because whenever there is a motion to remove the Speaker would be acting as an ordinary member of the House, just like any other member of the Lok Sabha. So in that very case, Speaker would definitely be exercising voting right on all the resolutions or any matter pending before the House, because now Speaker is no longer a Speaker, he or she is just a normal member of the Lok Sabha, because there being any motion or there being any resolution of him being removed, passing and by the House. So pehla point clear ho gaya. That's it. Statement number 2 is definitely correct, and we just have to mug it up because it's important that till date the Speaker of Lok Sabha has not been called upon to exercise this unique casting vote. I don't think we have come across this thing in the newspaper or anywhere, or so do memorize this very point very, very carefully, that the Speaker of the Lok Sabha has not been called upon to exercise this unique casting vote ever till date. That's it. Statement number 3 is not correct. Now we are to read it again, and that too very carefully, that chairman of Rajya Sabha does not exercise casting vote because he is not a member of Rajya Sabha. So chairman of Rajya Sabha is definitely not a member of Rajya Sabha, but this is not the reason why he doesn't exercise a casting vote. He in fact does exercise a casting vote because of it being a प्रिजाइडिंग ऑफिसर ऑफ द हाउस. तो ये स्टेटमेंट आ जाए कि चेयरमैन ऑफ राज्यसभा के पास कास्टिंग वोट नहीं है, तो वो गलत बात होगी, बिकॉज अंडर द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन द चेयरमैन एक्सरसाइज ओनली ए कास्टिंग वोट इन केस ऑफ equality of votes. This is very important because the chairman of Rajya Sabha, he is not a member of the Rajya Sabha. So under normal circumstances, he is not supposed to vote. So whenever there is any resolution of him being removed from the office or any other such resolution under the consideration of the house, whenever he is not acting as a presiding officer, then he or she cannot vote. तो अभी क्या पढ़ा? There is a slightly difference in the role of speaker and chairman here. अगर speaker presiding officer के act कर रहा है तो वो casting vote करेगा. Same way राज्यसभा का chairman would also be opting for the casting vote. But whenever speaker is not acting as a speaker, whenever she or he is not chairing the Lok Sabha, then she is just a normal member of the house. कुछ भी resolution होगा तो speaker is entitled to vote because she or he is a member of the house. But this is not the case with the chairman of the Rajya Sabha, because chairman of Rajya Sabha is not a member of the Rajya Sabha. So he is not entitled to vote except when he is acting as the chairman. So I think this is enough. So do not get confused. Try to read it once again. It's really, really simple. So that make it statement number 3 as the incorrect one, because chairman of Rajya Sabha actually can exercise the casting vote. So statement number 1 is correct. Statement number 2 is also correct. That's how we got at C as our right answer. So we are done with the 5 questions for day 15. If you haven't gotten over anything, then do try reading the explanation part on your own. It's really simple, and that's it. We are done. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.